Hey guys, welcome to another video. This time coming to you from my living room. I wanted to discuss today a little bit about fans and other fans. What I mean by that is, of course, embracing the hatred from other fans. I've noticed as a Canuck fan over the years, the amount of hate we get from fans across the league, whether it's Canadian fans or American fans. And I'm not complaining. And in fact, this video is more about how we embrace that hate. And actually, this video is technically more directed to fans of other teams. Uh, One of my videos previously, I received a lot of comments from some Oiler fans. Of course, there is a lot of back and forth between the Canuck fans and the Oiler fans because we just faced each other in the playoffs. And so, of course, the playoff hate that you get back and forth, it's definitely an interesting thing. You get people who say some pretty nasty stuff. You get a lot of videos where people are doing some pretty nasty stuff, but in the end, we look at it like, well, it's the playoffs. This is what happens in the playoffs. To be fair, I think back to when Vancouver was in the Stanley Cup final in 2011. There was a lot of, I mean, keep in mind too, of course, Twitter was very new around then. So everything that happened, in the playoffs and of course after the playoffs was magnified online. And in today's day and age, we have, Twitter, we've got Instagram, we've got YouTube. We had YouTube then, of course, too, but it's more prominent now. And one thing that you're seeing is you're seeing a lot of people trash talk each other. And what I've noticed personally is a lot of the Oiler fans were coming back at me for saying things like, I will not support the Oilers going forward. To be fair, guys, the reason I won't support the Oilers has nothing to do with the fact that they just beat the Canucks. The reason I won't support the Oilers is because I have never liked the Oilers. My whole life, I've hated the Oilers. And if you choose to say to me that you would have supported Vancouver if they'd have won the series, then that's great. Maybe you're a better hockey fan than I am. But the fact of the matter is, I cannot support a team like the Oilers. I couldn't support like the Leafs if they beat Vancouver, etc. I'm not one of those people who's like, you gotta cheer for a Canadian team because they're the last Canadian team. If the Oilers won the Stanley Cup, I'm not going to be in Edmonton celebrating the Stanley Cup victory with them. So it doesn't matter to me if they win the Stanley Cup. I agree it's sad that a Canadian team has not won the Stanley Cup since 1993. But if a Canadian team wins the Stanley Cup, I want it to be my team. If there are, and the other part of the other part of that fact is that there are plenty of Canadians on American teams who win the Stanley Cup every year. And they bring that cup back to their hometowns and they parade the Stanley Cup to their hometowns and celebrate. So, for me, if a team like Edmonton wins the Stanley Cup, frankly, great, good for them, but I don't really care that much. And neither should you if another team in Canada wins the cup. Why should you care if you're not a fan of that team? The logic doesn't make sense to me. But that's neither here nor there. That's actually not what this video is about. This video is about other teams' fans hating your team. In some of the comments I received, I had a lot of people talk about how my team and their fans trashed the city in 2011, in 94. Those are the only two times it's happened, by the way. And I laugh because, of course, those weren't real fans that trashed the city. Those people that rioted, some of them were fans, I'll agree. They had jerseys on. They were supporting the team, per se. But anybody who would willingly riot and destroy their city over a hockey game, I think there's a little bit more there. I think there's a little bit more to it. Alcohol plays a major factor. Lack of police plays a major factor. And there's a lot more stuff. I'm not a politician. I'm not a scientist. But what I'm going to say is we get a lot of hate for who we are and where we're from. And that's okay. The whole point of this video is talking about embracing that hate. You see, I had a person in my comments tell me just how bad my team is and how they have never won anything. And their team, the Edmonton Oilers, has won 5 Stanley Cups. Good on the Oilers for winning 5 Stanley Cups. They won those Stanley Cups a long time ago. Obviously, nobody in Canada has won a Stanley Cup. No Canadian team has won a Stanley Cup since 1993. So good on you for winning 5 Stanley Cups, 30 years ago. But, the part that makes it sort of funny is you get the negative comments about who you are and who your team is, and then they say something along the lines of, please cheer for the Oilers, like they deserve my support because of their history. In fact, it's because of their history that they don't have my support. It's because of the fact that you have the arrogance to say that I should be cheering for them because of their history and because of my team's history. Well, I'll let you know that Vancouver Canucks have never rioted. The Vancouver Canucks themselves have never rioted in Vancouver. It's stupid drunk people have rioted in Vancouver. But that's neither here nor there. What I'm trying to say to you is, don't worry about other people cheering for your team. If you cheer for your team, embrace the hate from all the other players, because that hate is what fuels your love for your team. It's what fuels your team to want to win, to want to beat the best of the best. It's funny because I've never said to somebody, how dare you not cheer for my team? You should be cheering for my team because they are the best. And here's proof from 30 years ago. That's great. That proof is great. That's great. That's great for you to cheer for your team. But it doesn't give me reason to cheer for your team. Respect, is a big factor. A team that actually wins because they deserve to win. I'm not saying Edmonton doesn't deserve to win. What I'm saying is, if I can watch a hockey series where a team can go and put forth 100% effort without showing any type of whining or any type of, causing penalties like, I'm going to pick McDavid apart here for a second. Connor McDavid has gotten away with a few high sticks in these playoffs. And I mean that both joking and serious, because a few times, obviously, I'm sure they were accidents. But I watched Quinn Hughes get high sticked in the face, blood dripping down his face, no penalty. That was Connor McDavid. And it was a very obvious high stick. Any Oiler fan will probably come back at me and say something like, you guys are whiners, you guys are whiners. I'm not saying that's what cost them the series. Okay? Edmonton won fair and square. I'm over it. Okay? I'm not going to sit here and argue with you and say things like Vancouver was the better team. That's totally pointless now. That argument does not matter. But what I'm saying is, when you can get through a hockey series without those type of non-call penalties, where somebody is intentionally trying to hurt somebody or intentionally trying to, cause a penalty without getting a penalty. I look at Brad Marchand as a perfect example, and I think you can too. If you can get through a series without doing stuff like that, shady stuff, that's where I feel like I'm going to cheer for a team. That's where I feel like I'm going to cheer for a team that isn't my team. I'm not saying Vancouver was perfectly, within their own means of, getting away with stuff. I'm sure they were. But I'm still going to cheer for Vancouver because that's my team. So, and you have to think of it, you have to put yourself in those shoes too. If you cheer for another hockey team, you have to put yourself in the shoes of another fan and go, Do I really feel like I'm going to cheer for that team? I'm not going to cheer for a team just because you tell me I should cheer for your team. I'm going to cheer for a team that I think deserves to win. I'm rooting for Florida, but they're currently losing in their series. Okay, that's perfectly fine. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And you know what? If Edmonton wins the Stanley Cup, good on you. I'm happy for you. I'm not excited. I'm not going to sit here and dance around and be like, yay, Cup is coming back to Canada. But I'm still going to be happy because hockey is a great sport. I love hockey. And that's why I watch. But in the end, I embrace the hate. And you should too. If you're an Oilers fan, don't ask people to cheer for your team. Embrace the hate. Love it. Because it is the best thing in the world when you win. That's all I've got for you today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'm going to be making more videos for you like this. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So let me know how you guys feel down below. Give me a little comment if you feel like you agree with me, or maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I should be cheering for the Oilers because they're the last Canadian team. Let me know how you feel. We'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.